Okay, here's our little beauty down here. First thing to do, most pumps do have a valve either side. And if you look, you'll see this one has got the same. It's got the screw valve there and a screw valve just behind this pipe here. So there's one either side of this pump. So first thing we're going to do is isolate these before we try to take the pump off. And also then we're going to disconnect the wiring also. Probably I usually do the wiring first, but it's entirely up to you. So I'm going to take the wires off first. I'll show you this piece. Okay, on the front of the pump we have the screw here, which we're going to remove. That reveals the cover and all the laundry in there. Okay, now before we touch any of these wires, they're obviously got to be turned off. Make sure that your supply is off to the main central heating. All controls are off. You can even turn off the main power supply, the switch in the cupboard if you'd rather. I often check them with an electric screwdriver. A lot of people say you shouldn't use these, we should use a test meter, but I still like them. I've never got a shock off them. You just put your thumb on the finger on the hand and put it on the terminal, and if it doesn't read, which that one doesn't, it's quite safe, it's off. But obviously do make sure that the supply is completely turned off before you tackle it. Okay. Okay, I've got a little torch in here for a bit of extra light so you can see what's going on. Okay, I've disconnected the three input cables that go onto the pump there, and we're just going to pull that out of there now, and that's our wiring out of the way. Next piece, as I say, we'll get these valves off, and I'll show you how we've got to sort of take these off. It's not as conventional as you might think. So we'll get the valves off. Okay, if these valves are jammed at all, they won't go right off when you turn them, then I'm afraid you are stuck with draining the whole system down, which can be a bloody nuisance, but does sometimes happen. I'm just going to see how I get on. Mine are a bit stiff, so I'm going to get a bigger screwdriver to get those off. Okay, I've managed to get mine off now, and I'll show you. If I zoom in, you'll see the screw is in the upright position, which is where it should be. Let's just get him in there. I'll just zoom you in a bit so you can see. If you look at the union there, now you can see that union is in the upright position. Okay, it's starting to weep a bit, which isn't a very good sign. Sometimes it means the union might need replacing if they start leaking, which still means you have to drain it down. But nevertheless, I'm going to take it off and show you this way to change it over. So the next thing is to get this nut loose. Now, it's no point, these nuts, trying to undo them with a spanner, just putting a spanner on and hoping it'll undo. It's very unlikely, because they're usually seized on with the heat. The heat makes them stick, and they need a shock to undo them. So it's never just a case of putting a spanner on there and hoping that that's going to do it, because it won't. The only way is going to be with what I use, and a lot of people will, woo, a hammer and chisel. Okay, sounds mad, but the shock will undo the nut. So that's what I'm going to show you next. So here we have our trusty hammer and chisel, and basically we put this on the nut and give the pump a clap, and we'll shake this thing open, because I guarantee you the only way you undo these nuts is by giving them a clap. This nut goes up that way, so you've got to clout it back that way and tap. Okay, we're at the point where the pump nuts are loose now. I resorted to a slightly sharper, smaller chisel to knock that nut round. It went fairly easily in the end, a few knocks and it's gone round. So we've got both nuts loose now. There'll be a bit of water in here. This is unavoidable. It's what's laying in the pump, and you're going to get it whatever you do. We'll disconnect the pump now. Take it off. There's one side and the other. take a note of what direction he's pumping in. As you can see, the arrow is pointing in that direction, and that's the way it's got to be refitted. As you can see, there'll be some old washers on here. There's one of them there. Take those off. There's one, and the other one's stuck on the end of the pump. As you can see, it's still there. Look, there's the old one. We want that. And we're ready now to get the pump out and fit the new one. A brand new DAB pump. I usually fit Grundfos, to be honest, but didn't have one in stock at the time. I had to wait a couple of days, so I decided I'll try this DAB pump out. It's got a 2-year guarantee, so we're good to go. Now, I personally prefer to wire up before installation, because it's always harder when it's installed, I find, to get it wired up. So I generally tend to wire it up first. Most pumps these days are this type of arrangement where you pull the lever back and insert the wire. See that? Pull the lever back, push the wire. Used to be a time, used to be screws, and you screwed it down, which I did prefer, to be honest, but modern times things change. Also on the side you'll have this side grommet for the wire, which consists of this part, a nut and a thread, okay, and a pulley cone. So basically we slide excuse me, the nut over, followed by our inserted piece. The wires go through there. They're always a bit tight for these grommets. Let's push them through. See it? Like that with the wire through. That's your earth, live and neutral. Now we've literally just got to insert them in the right sockets here. You can see that that one is the earth, that one's got the end for neutral, and that one's the end for live. So we literally just ping them back and push them in. And at least it's wide, ready when it does go back on those unions. It's ready for go. The hardest part now, if you like, this is the part where we fit the pump back in. Make sure we've got the right direction on the arrow, same as the one you took out. Don't have it reverse pumping, it will never work. Okay, we've got to get this washer on. I tend to pull this nut forward and slide the washer on there. That's it. Now washer's now sat inside that union there, so that we're going to get that nut on first. Just concentrate on one at a time, don't try and get them both. Okay, push it over. Feels like I might have him now. Yep, I feel the threads going up now. So there we are, we've got our first one on. Leave it loose while we get the second one. We've got it started. It's fiddly as hell, believe me, getting it started. But I've had this pipe in the way, so I had an extra excuse. Being right-handed is a bit tough. Okay, you can see it's left us a gap here to get this washer in for the second one. We'll get him in there and slide the washer in there. Pretty easy on the second one because the weight's been taken off by the right one there, so not too bad. Okay. We have it nipped there, so now it's just a matter of tightening these nuts up, and we're almost there, and we're almost ready. I have the pump connected now. Some kind-hearted sole, if I find him, obviously put that union behind this pipe, which is nice and handy for me to turn on. It's virtually an impossibility to try and get an angle like that to get it on. Vent at the top of the pump. Now, because you've put the new pump in, there's a little screw on the top which allows you to get the air out. You just unscrew that and bleed it, let the air out. There's any air in the pump, once we get it out of there. A lot of people do it with the pump on when it comes out as well, then just to let it out. Just let that air out there, and then screw it back down. Okay. And basically that's your job finished.